Fellas, we can probably all agree that video editing can be hard, monotonous, tedious, convoluted, any word that you can think of that means not very easy to do sometimes. And if you're like me, you really like the video creation medium. I do it every single day, and it can get pretty old. When you go on YouTube, you're scrolling through and you see videos that you think, I can't compete with that. I can't compete with that. That's too much editing for me. Well, maybe you don't have to compete with it at all. I used to think that before I posted a video or made a video, I'd have to put an entire work week worth of work into it in the video editing process. But that simply isn't true. It can feel like you have a mountain to climb when you enter into the video editing process and you compare it to another video that has edits throughout that are designed to fit a specific retention statistic. But I don't think video editing was ever meant to be an exact science. I don't think we were ever supposed to edit videos for a statistic that suits an algorithm. No, 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 no. That takes away from what makes a video your video. Your video doesn't necessarily need smoothly edited text pop-ups. It doesn't really need animations, transitions. It can be started with one simple cut. Just a simple cut can take what is a completely awful and terrible creation that you did. You created the terrible thing, and change it into a masterpiece that you can show your family and friends, and they will not sit there and make fun of you for how horrible it is. Any storytelling technique can be done with simple cuts. First cut I'm going to talk about is the jump cut. Jump cuts are really good for getting rid of space in between clips. If you're farting, you're burping, you're throwing up, cut that crap out unless you want to keep a fart in. That's really funny. Put it together to make clips shorter, punchier, and funnier. This is an example of a jump cut. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe. That cut between welcome to the channel and subscribe is a jump cut because it's just jumping from one part of the same shot to another part of the same exact shot. That can be used for, talking head videos like this. Jump cuts are also good for humor and making a video, in my opinion, feel kind of more personable, if that makes sense, and not so produced. I think this works really well for YouTube, but in the professional space, which is what I kind of edit in the most, you probably wouldn't want to use jump cuts as much, but you could use this. So let's say you have the same camera angle. A simple trick with a jump cut, technically it's not a jump cut, but it is a jump cut, is you have one shot, this shot, you make a cut, and then you zoom in on the next shot to make it look like it's another angle. So you have this shot moving into this shot to make it look a little bit different. Very simple trick. I'm sure if you're not a beginner, you know this. But I just wanted to throw that in there just for those who might not know. That can also be used for comedic effect because you can zoom in on funny parts to really emphasize a specific thing you're saying. That's good for that. So the next cut I want to talk about is the cutaway. The cutaway is extremely commonplace. A cutaway is, let's say I'm talking about big elephants, and then I cut to some footage of some elephants over me talking about it. Otherwise known as B-roll, where you just play footage over narration, over someone talking. That's a cutaway. That honestly alone, just showing B-roll over talking, can literally be an entire video that's still super duper good without any crazy editing. But I will say, to really take it to the next level, I would try to find footage that really does apply to what you're saying. I get lazy sometimes when I'm editing, and I will just put footage of like some gameplay over it. And I think that if I could probably do it better. It would probably be better if I put stuff that actually applies to what I'm saying sometimes. But I have two more cuts for y'all. The J and L cut. A J cut is when you cut from one shot to another, but you bring the audio from the next shot under the audio of the current shot before the next shot is played. So let's say I'm talking about beautiful mountain breezes and trees, and I want to cut to a shot of that. I might bring that audio in to give the viewer a couple seconds of anticipation, like, oh, I'm about to see something sweet, and then cut to that shot. The L cut is the exact opposite thing. So an example of an L cut, let's say you're talking about your trip to the mountains, showing footage of the mountains, and you have sort of music and sound and birds and trees sound effects. and you kind of want to carry it into the next shot. Let's say of you talking, to kind of keep that nostalgic sort of feel into the next shot. That's what I think L cuts are good for, and they're kind of just neat. Your brain just enjoys listening to it if it's done the right way. That's enough about cuts. No one wants to hear about it anymore. Let's talk about pacing. Another thing that a simple video can have is good pacing. And what drives pacing? What you just thought of was probably wrong. I'm thinking of music. Music is very important in a video because sometimes you want the viewer to feel calm. You know, we're chilling. We're in a video. Let's talk about a YouTube video, just something more casual. You want somebody to feel calm. You play some chill beats in the background. You want someone to relax, drink coffee to your video. You might want to keep them calm. Let's say you're doing a video that has a part about a challenge or anything that you want the viewer to be excited about. You want to drive that tempo up. You want the cuts to be a little snappier. You want things to be a little bit faster paced. Well, music's obviously great to drive the emotion to a viewer that things are getting serious. Things are getting a little nutty, and you need to be paying attention because the music's picking up. Music's great for pacing is all I'm trying to say. Music in your videos, use it right. On top of music, sound design has been really important, and you really don't have to get crazy with the sound design. Let's say you're popping up some text. Sound design is really good for things like that. It can give stuff weight that has no weight at all, like text coming in, you know, whooshes and all that jazz. Makes it feel like it's going through some kind of air. There's friction. You don't have to put sound design on every little thing, just like the major things in your video, to keep it simple, but also really immerse the viewer in what they're watching. Yeah, I use Epidemic Sound for a lot of my sound effects. Not sponsored. I have not even 600 subscribers. There's no way I'm going to be sponsored. I really like their sound effects library. I think it's really, really good. I've used every single paid subscription library you can think of. I've used Artlist, I've used MusicBed, I've used Epidemic Sound, I've used Lens Distortions. Anything and everything you can think of, I've used. And yeah, I like Epidemic Sound. It's pretty good. So if you're looking at that, I recommend that. Let's get a little bit deeper. Let's get a little bit more conceptual than the literal things you're doing with your video edit, like cutting, adding music, adding SFX. What you need to be doing is making sure your ideas aren't absolute garbage too. Because I've seen some videos that they're trying their best to carry it with an edit, but it doesn't really matter because most likely no one wants to watch you go to like your grandma's pickleball tournament and commentate on it. Actually, that kind of sounds really funny. There's an idea for a video. You can do all the little fancy schmancy edits you want to, but if your subject matter sucks, it really doesn't matter, you know? It's not gonna do anything for you. The viewer wants to learn something, they want to feel something, or maybe learn something. I think having a good idea and a good thing to talk about that you really like is more important than the video edits. But this video is more about editing. This is just a side note. That's pretty much it. I wanted to keep this simple. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it and you think this is a stupid video, all this stuff was obvious, dislike it. It really helps me out. Let me know in the comments if you think this was awful. Let me know if you think it was the best thing ever. And I will see you guys later. Goodbye.